Make me a tree. Okay. Hi everyone, it's Cooking with Kimmy. Welcome to a special Christmas episode. And today we're making buñuelos. So what buñuelos are like a Mexican fried dough. While developing this recipe, we were kind of thinking if we wanted to make buñuelos or beignets or some kind of donut-y thing. So this is kind of a little Filipino twist on that. So what we're gonna make here is kind of like a puffy fried dough coated in powdered sugar, and then instead of caramel sauce, we're gonna be using some store-bought cocoa jam. So it's a super easy, super fun dessert, great for everyone who eats dessert. 4 ingredients. Flour we have inside our big bowl here. I'm gonna add to that 1/4 cup of sugar, so not that much for the amount we're making. We don't want the dough itself to be super sweet because our toppings are more sugar and more syrup. And here we have some baking powder. This is what's gonna give us our nice air bubbles and pockets, and of course some salt. So I'm just gonna mix this together so it's well combined, and that's pretty much the apocalypse. It's a Decepticon. Okay, so we're just gonna mix it together. Then here I have a bowl with a 1/4 cup measure. We're just gonna use 3/4 cup of hot water. So we're just gonna stir our hot water into the mixture, and then when it kind of comes together, we'll start kneading it on the surface. And of course, depending on the temperature of your kitchen, if it feels a little dry, you can add hot water by the tablespoon until it comes together. You could definitely do like a chocolate flavor, replace some of the flour with cocoa powder. Yeah, but again, you'd fry at a lower temperature because it might get dark really easily. Starting to come together, it might look really dry, but if you start kind of pushing it together with your hands and it's coming together, then you're on the right track. I'm gonna add a touch more water. You could also obviously do this with your stand mixer's dough hook. We cannot find our dough hook. So this is what's happening here. Shouldn't have worn long sleeves, but this is the only green shirt I had. Just turn it out onto the surface. And just knead it until it, ow, that was hot. Careful because it's hot water, obviously. Just knead it until it comes together. So it's still warm, so it's still gonna hydrate a little bit. After we knead this, we're gonna let it rest for about 30 minutes, and then we're gonna start rolling it out into our buñuelos. It's as easy as that. So here's our dough that's been resting for about 30 minutes. What we're gonna do now is just roll it out to about 1/4 inch thick, and then we're gonna cut out circles, set those aside, and then fry them up. We're just gonna punch out as much as we can out of this dough. We don't really want to roll the scraps up, rework them, and then fry those, and then cut those into circles. Every time we do that, that second batch will never be as fluffy or as good, just because it's already pretty much overworked. So you just want to make sure you get as much as you can the first time around. If you didn't want to cut right away, you could make some indentations, kind of see how many circles you can fit, but we're just gonna go with it. Okay, so we were able to get about 12 pieces out of this batch of dough. Just gonna take the scraps out, and as you work, you just wanna keep these covered under some plastic wrap or a towel just to make sure that they don't dry out. Okay, so here I have a pot of hot oil and a plate with a couple paper towels on it for the buñuelos to drain. So we're just gonna fry them a couple at a time, making sure not to overcrowd. So we are deep frying, so you want them to be submerged in the oil. But that's why I like to use like a flatter, shallower pan. So you don't have to use as much oil, but you can fry more at one time and still have them be submerged. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I'll do 6 at a time, so 2 batches. Kind of just want to move them around a little so that they don't stick to the bottom. And as you can see, there's going to be some like large air bubbles forming. And they'll get golden brown and puffy. While these are frying, I just wanted to explain what I have here. So this is a squeeze bottle that I put some cocoa jam in. Then I just have like really low warm water, and I submerged the squeeze bottle in the warm water. So that just keeps it a little bit looser and a little bit more liquid, so it's easier to go over the buñuelos. So as you can see, they're starting to puff up. They're getting a light golden brown. Only really takes like 2 to 3 minutes on each side. So I think these are just about ready to flip. You don't want them too dark, just a light golden brown. So I guess like the difference between this and like if you were making donuts, so obviously donuts are yeasted and they're really light and fluffy. This is more like a kind of like a chewy bread type deal. So they aren't donuts, but they're kind of like donuts. I don't know. So now that they're golden on both sides, I'm just gonna lift them out of the oil and just drain them on these paper towels. And we'll fry the other 6, and then we'll be ready to plate and serve. So here we have our 12 buñuelos, and before I transfer it onto a platter, I'm going to dust it in a combination of powdered sugar and cinnamon. If you remember earlier, we didn't put that much sugar in the dough. So our flavor is really gonna come from all the stuff we put on top. Wanna be generous, it's Christmas, so it's snowing. Wee. And then this is the warm cocoa jam. When you take cocoa jam straight out of the jar, it's really thick and hard to work with. So what it does when you put it in here and then put it in the water bath, it's like, oh, syrup. So it's like an easy way to not have to make your own caramel or anything like that. We'll just drizzle generously. And there are your buñuelos. Make them look nicer, but you'll eat them anyway and they taste great. So make it at home and tell us if you do. Like and subscribe our videos if you want to see more holiday recipes or recipes in general. Click here, everywhere. Huh? Oh, Merry Christmas.